Hey guys, Sean Franklin here. Happy to be in this class with all of you. I'm addressing discussion board forum 4, where we're assessing and diagnosing complicated grief. People may fail grief for several reasons. They fail to grieve because of avoidance, cultural expectations, lack of support, or a belief that showing emotions is simply unsafe or weak. And this is according to Worden in his book. He explains that grief can be complicated when a person is unable or unwilling to work through the task of mourning, and instead they remain emotionally stuck. So, my personal view is failing to grieve often reflects an attempt to protect oneself from pain, but that same avoidance can prevent healing. My personal experience of my 13-year-old daughter in 21 who died. The next day, she was preparing to move from Beaumont to Houston to come live with me, right? So, but that day she decided because her mom wasn't parenting, I guess, wasn't home. So my 13-year-old entered the car of another 14-year-old. The 14-year-old stole the car. And soon as they turned one corner, the police was chasing this gentleman. And this gentleman, from watching a lot of TV, decided to wreck the car and jump out and run. When he wrecked the car, he crushed my daughter's skull. Um, I had to pay for the funeral and manage many things. I had to leave the school in which I was working, and I didn't grieve because there were so many other people grieving. Maybe 2 years later, I had to enter counseling and still couldn't grieve. But when I started caring for other people, their content triggered my content, and I was able to finally grieve. I would recognize complicated grief by looking for symptoms like mine at the time. I was intense, persistent, and disruptive in daily function. There was warning signs that included ongoing yearning, inability to accept death, emotional numbness, avoidance of reminders, anger, guilt, or just a strong sense that life has no meaning after the loss. Complicated grief goes beyond ordinary sadness because it interferes with relationship work and just adjusting to life. Research has also shown that complicated grief is marked by prolonged distress and difficulty um, imagining a meaningful future without the deceased. One case study in Worden's chapter 5 that demonstrates failing to grieve is Harriet. After her husband's death, Harriet avoided fully confronting the realities of loss and became emotionally stuck. This case reflects chronic grief, one of Worden's 4 clinical manifestations of complicated mourning. Harriet's sorrow remained persistent over time, and she was unable to reorganize her life in the absence of her husband because she did not adapt to the loss. Her mourning process became prolonged and dysfunctional, and rather than gradually healing, Worden shows that when grief remains unresolved in the way, grief counseling may no longer be enough and grief therapy becomes necessary. Being in the presence of other people grieving. Thank you for listening to me. I look forward to responding to 2 other of my classmates, if not more. Thank you guys. Enjoying our time together.